Good morning and welcome to Women Who Rock with Success. Thank you for joining in with us on today. Women Who Rock with Success is a digital plat media for professional women. We would like to make a couple of announcements for our listeners as a reminder of the event that will be held on April the 12th. It's a women's expo to be held at the Hollywood Community Center located at 1560 North Hollywood Street. And it's Memphis, Tennessee, 38108. This is a free admission for women to be able to come in, and it's going to be a luncheon. And we're excited. We have speakers that are lined up for the event to be able to impact and empower you. As well as we have another luncheon that's coming up on March the 22nd. And so the time for that is going to be from 11 to 2 o'clock p.m. It's going to be at the same facility at 1560 North Hollywood Street. That's Memphis, Tennessee, 38108. And you can go to Eventbrite to be able to register for that event for some tickets. For all upcoming events, you can just go to our website at www.womenwhorockwithsuccess.com. And I think it's .org. So today we have an awesome show that's lined up for you today. And today we're going to be talking to our humanly, Miss Lauren Wood, that's going to be on the broadcast today and going to be able to share her story and her platform of how she impacts others through her brand. So welcome to the show, Lauren.
Hi, how are you?
Perfect, doing great. We're so glad that you're on the show today. And so just tell us a little bit about you first.
Okay, great. So Lauren Wood, I was born in Michigan, but raised in Canada by my stepfather and my mother, and went to school out west. But in the midst of all of that, I lost my mother to cancer right before my 15th birthday. So the high school and college years were certainly not what one would define as normal, but definitely contributed to a lot of the ambition I think I have today, and I think it's representative in some of the work I do today, which led me back out east to New York and now in New Jersey working in healthcare.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Okay, so tell us a little bit about our story, Humanly.
Yeah, so Humanly is a community platform for individuals who have been impacted by cancer. So that extends to people who are living with cancer, but also their caregivers, their partners, their family, their oncologists, their nurses, anyone who's been impacted by this disease. And we brought this to life through the first product, which is Our Story. And Our Story is a place for individuals to share their stories, their thoughts, their reflections with others who are going through something similar. It's an online website where you can go on and users can submit short and long form submissions, again, anything from a story to a fear, a question, a thought, and these are all categorized by our team according to life themes. So together they paint this really beautiful and meaningful holistic picture of what it really means to live with cancer on a day-to-day basis.
Mm-hmm. And so is this for men and women as well?
Correct, yes.
Okay. So what was the impact of Our Story when women, so let me say about women, when women start out on launching new initiatives, new innovatives, new projects, it's always something that is either there's a need or there's a transition or there's something that compelled the individual to launch what it is that they're doing. So what's the impact of Our Story?
Yeah. So I think the driver behind launching this is very much my own personal experience, but now working in oncology at a biotech in New Jersey, Immunomedics, being exposed to other individuals who have been impacted by cancer and learning more about their lives and more specifically learning about their perception of the healthcare industry at large and the support services that are available to them or not available to them. I think the medical industry has traditionally primarily focused on treatment options, clinical outcomes, and you're often talking about people who are living with this disease with a matter of numbers. You're not talking about what it's like for some of these side effects to show up in their lives. You're not talking about the impact of this life-altering diagnosis on the way they view themselves, the way they view their future, their relationships with their family, the relationship they have with themselves. And so I think, as a woman, and I think you would probably agree, we often take a slightly different approach to relationship development and understanding the needs of people. And that requires a very deep level of compassion. And what our story has been able to do is encourage people to share these vulnerable thoughts and moments. What brings the most joy to their day? What has been most difficult to overcome? And encourage people to share aspects of their experience so that they know it's okay to talk about these things. Albeit very difficult things to address. But the more we can generate a dialogue around this, the more individuals who are living with this disease can feel better supported, and the more the medical community, the more the healthcare industry can design new products and services to better support everyone who's impacted by this disease.
Great, because a lot of times women, especially, we get over emotional once we receive tragic news or something that is not going right for that day. And so I think this is an awesome platform for those that are going through with cancer to be able to relate with others and share their story at the same time.
Completely. So there's certainly a unity and strength, I think, that is found when you are connecting with others who have had a shared experience. And don't get me wrong, everyone's personal experience is different, but what we've learned from our research is that there is something beautiful in the context of all of the stories and experiences of people who have been impacted by cancer. There are these common themes and reactions that transcend gender and age, religion, geography, demographic, and I think that's something that can really bring people together. And the other thing I think that you would notice as you review some of the content that has been submitted thus far on the site by users is that, while it is an incredibly emotional time, there's also silver linings that come out of that. I mean, I myself prioritize time and relationships very differently, having lost my mother to cancer. Ricky, who shared some stories on there after her cancer diagnosis, she basically was like, I have to get all of the cancers out of my life. That includes my husband of 30 years. That includes my toxic job. It encourages you to prioritize what really matters, and I think that there is value in that, despite how devastating the experience is.
It was one awesome tool that I took from the website that you had. It's not only that those that are browsing your website can be able to read, but they can be able to listen to the story. So I thought that was an awesome feature that you had added to your site. That way that would give others a little bit more in depth of what you do, as well as allowing others to hear what it is that they're going through or their story.
Yep, exactly. And so in the design of the site, we really thought about how people share information today. Whether that's Twitter, whether that's Instagram, video, it's text, it's also audio. So we wanted to maintain some anonymity in the site while also trying to provide a greater sense of connection to the individuals who are sharing. And to your point, that the audio recording certainly does that. So I'm very glad that you did. And as we roll out more features, we'll have a nice combination of both the recordings, and then for those who don't feel comfortable recording their voice, they can do more of a kind of a Twitter style entry to the site.
Awesome, because that would be an awesome impact just of what you stated. Just think about it, if someone is going through cancer, what have you, they can be able to utilize your site as a social media feature, and that would be good. So what do you get in the community with the women to impact them? We know that you have the online site. We know that you have the features to be able to encourage others that are battling this disease. Do you do any community efforts to be able to impact individuals locally?
So we are looking to roll out human-lead circles and events to bring local individuals and local community members together. Given that the site has just been launched, there are some things that are, will roll out over time here, but that certainly is something that we're looking to achieve. We know how important that, that personal, in-person, physical connection is. At the beginning of March, we'll be rolling out a series of new features, including a personalized profile and the ability to connect with individuals through the site. So you can exchange, an email address and then connect off of the site. So that will be kind of the first step, and then as the brand evolves, we'll look to have other touch points, other products and services, in addition to events and community gatherings that are tied to the Humanly brand.
Okay, and so with that being said, due to the fact that the website is newly developed, would you be offering like online counseling services for those that are going through? And I know it's empowerment, but would you think about offering like counseling services, or maybe like a chat session where individuals can be able to connect with someone in the medical field to be able to share some of what they're going through, or even ask questions?
So I think as of right now, we don't have counseling services as a part of the Humanly platform. What we do have is a resource section that is a robust and comprehensive list of a lot of the advocacy services and initiatives that already exist today. We certainly don't want to be redundant, and we see our advocacy partners as incredibly important. They do some fantastic work and provide incredible services to people who are impacted by cancer. So going to that resource section on the site, seeing what other individuals have found helpful, whether that's an advocacy group, whether that's an article, whether that's a book, you can look for resources there that can point you to counseling services, that can point you to, a recommendation potentially to another physician or a support group. So that's the way in which we're kind of structuring it to date, because we also, again, we don't want to be prescriptive. We very much want this to be an of the people, by the people, for the people site. So this needs to be user generated, and it very much is kind of tied to whatever you need in this moment. Go and either connect with that person or go to that resource, depending on what you feel resonates with you most at that time.
Okay, so it's not actually geared to like a medical type of entity. It's more like an empowerment type of entity where individuals can share their stories and their triumphs are overcome. Okay, perfect. Okay.
Exactly. Okay. So we're trying to steer a little bit. We're trying to keep it away from the more medical aspects of this disease, because we feel that the gap in the market today is in our services that are grounded in the day-to-day experiences. The thoughts and moments that often go unsaid or not paid attention to by the medical community, and they're equally as important. And the more we can support everyone that's impacted by this disease in the entire kind of care ecosystem, whether that be the caregiver, the patient, the family member, the oncologist, the better everyone will be supported and the better outcome I think that we will see. Something else you mentioned around social media and some feedback we've gotten from folks who have been browsing on the site, has been reading, Nita's story or reading, Austin's experience as a caregiver for someone who is diagnosed with metastatic cancer at a very young age. It was so refreshing to hear what he had to say, because I've been grappling with how to communicate this feeling. I've been struggling with how to share that with my parents so that they understand what I'm going through. So you have the ability on the site to also share what has already been posted on the site to other individuals through your social channels. And that's I think, a unique thing here as well. I've been, looking for the words to say that, thank you so much, or I know exactly how you feel. That's how I feel too. So it's those moments of connection.
That's awesome, because it was something that you said that regardless of an individual that has cancer, it's just more than the individual that is that has the cancer that is impacted, family members are impacted. So I think this is an awesome tool because individuals can be able to go there, hear, listen, and can be able to share some things, but also can be able to get some tips. Like for instance, like if a person is going through an issue and they may not know what to do, where to reach out for the resources and tips, they can be able to retrieve that in this aspect from the website that you have to offer. I think that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, everything is all in one place, and I think that's the other challenging part here too, is that when you are diagnosed with cancer, either you don't have support services that are provided to you, or you are frantically looking at a variety of things on Google. You don't have one consolidated location to go and to look for those things.
I'm just excited, I guess, of how, and perhaps we'll be able to come back and do an update with your program for the month of October, because I think this is something that women need. A lot of times people may not know the access, even though that 1-800 numbers are offered, but sometimes that's a large network. People are not willing to get into a broader network like that. So I think this is going to be something that's going to be able to help individuals to be able to come to, so they can be able to feel them. Sometimes we're so busy trying to feel important for others, even while we're going through. But I think this will be something great where they can be themselves. That's awesome. So
I hope so too. And I think the other thing here too is while this platform is specifically geared around those impacted by cancer, a lot of the themes and experiences, the thoughts, the feelings, they could be applied to any sort of inflection point in your life. Whether that's a divorce, whether that's a miscarriage, whether that's a cancer diagnosis. I mean, it's these critical inflection moments that completely shift your perspective and force you to pivot your trajectory to a certain degree. And I think there's a lot of similarities and common themes that you'll find in this that can be applied to those other instances and better support individuals as they're navigating them.
Okay. So do you think that you'll be reaching out to different more categories beyond cancer, maybe like, I guess, sickle cell? Because the way I'm seeing it, for what you offer for individuals, it can be, I don't know how to say it, this can be something like a powerful, even more broader impact for other individuals. Take, for instance, like sponsorship. People can be able to come in and engage with your platform if it's a sickle cell, or whether it's something like some other diseases or issues that is impacting and infecting individuals. So is cancer is something that is going to be the main category that you want to focus on, or you think you're going to be able to broaden it to other topics as well?
I think the immediate focus will certainly be on cancer, but broadening the scope of Humanly in the future is definitely something that's on the table. And because to your point, this is not just the kind of dialogue and narrative that we need to encourage in just cancer. It's across a variety of chronic diseases and illnesses. So I definitely think that there's opportunity for us to do that.
Okay. And so the next question that I'm going to ask, and I always ask most of my guests this, is because listeners can also help businesses, organizations, platforms to be able to achieve short-term and long-term goals. So where do you want to see Humanly in the next 5 years as a long-term goal?
I hope that Humanly creates a new template for the medical industry to partner with and support people who are impacted by disease. I think there's a disconnect between the individuals who are in-house at these pharma companies working on research and development and the end of the line there, where it's being administered to a patient and it's being administered to someone where you're having a tremendous impact. So there needs to be a greater connection between those two endpoints. And if we can create a greater connection there, and we can better understand the needs of individuals on a day-to-day basis, we can design more products and services to better support them. And I don't just mean the drugs and the therapies. I mean, it's also support services. It's identifying the right opportunity to partner with other organizations because you've identified a new need. I mean, I think that if we engage in this kind of dialogue and we're open to this kind of, broad and intimate conversation, we can drive innovation within the industry, and the right kind of innovation. Innovation that is not, geared towards selling a drug and pushing a product. Innovation that is very much grounded in needs and supporting people so that we have a healthier and more productive society.
I agree, because I guess you brought the content out of what I was trying to say on a former question that I had asked. Of course, partnership is concerned where other companies would be willing to engage with your brand even the more, because this is something that you're pulling out. I mean, I haven't seen where you can be able to go to a website and listen to people's stories on audio. And so I think that's an awesome tool that you have where people can go in and be able to express themselves. So,
yeah, and we'll be creating other collateral through other partnerships. We have recently launched an edition of Humanly cards with Who We Are game, and it's a storytelling game, not unlike some of the questions and storytelling games that already exist out there, but these are a little bit more geared toward the impact of cancer on your life. And so we'll be rolling out other iterations of these cards to facilitate different kinds of dialogue, whether that's between parents and children after a cancer diagnosis, whether that's between the patient and the physician, or even between physician and their nurse. I mean, there's a lot of touch points and interactions that I think that go unaddressed or a little bit dismissed, that I think, if we dig into and we can better understand, again, we will learn so much more, and that learning will really drive the growth in the product development so we can support everyone. And
so from your own personal experiences, as well as the experiences that you have heard from your own clients and platforms, what 3 tips would you like to leave with the listeners in regards to Humanly, and as well as overcoming in regards to what you have went through your own personal experiences?
I think with regard to Humanly and this just the notion of living with cancer, I think 3 things is really difficult, but I'll try my best.
Okay.
I think so. I think the first would be self-advocacy. I think that's something that we hope Humanly will drive. The strength and optimism that can be derived from connecting with other individuals who have gone through something similar is empowering. And it can drive you to push for that second opinion, to push for, more answers, to push for more support, or even just to communicate it in a different way, communicate what you need. We all need support in that regard, but I hope that the self-advocacy piece is certainly one of those. I think the other aspect is, I think it's being comfortable discussing these difficult topics. It's opening the door to conversation that we traditionally steer away from, because we often don't want to address the inevitable. We don't even want to, scenario plan around what could happen. I think when you are exposed to these other interactions and experiences from people who are going through something similar, it encourages you to have those types of conversations, because without that kind of open communication, which I think is something that's foundation for any successful relationship, especially as you're navigating difficult times, you will have a much more difficult time getting through it with each other and identifying the support that you need. So I think the communication and being comfortable with these topics is certainly another one. And then I think the third thing would really just to be, to expand, and it's just kind of going back to the industry perspective, but to encourage the medical industry to broaden the narrative around cancer. It's not just about advisory boards to look at side effects of therapy. It's not It's not just about, creating a tool that people could use to manage the dosage of their treatment, so they're only using it for a specific drug. I mean, we can be much more democratic in the way that we are supporting individuals with this disease. So I hope that this will do that, and I think it's also going to shed light on a variety of needs that are not addressed. Oncologists and nurse burnout, those are very real things. The support services available for oncologists and for nurses are lacking. They're really not there. And and if we can support all of these different stakeholders more effectively, the individual trying to get through treatment and trying to get to remission, they will likely have a better outcome because their mental models, their frameworks, their perception of reality will be shifted because they feel better supported. I definitively believe that is the outcome that we will reach eventually.
I agree. I think that the platform is probably going to reach beyond what you perhaps maybe can see, because there is so much that people are looking for as far as encouragement. Some people don't want to go in and sit in a group, or some people don't want to go in and sit out in an organization and share things openly with other people, because some people are private, they're personal. Some people don't know that people have lost, they don't want people to know that they've lost their hair. Some people are very sensitive, and I think that the platform is going to reach beyond your dreams, because there is so much passion as far as organizations connecting with you, because that's one thing that I forgot to touch on, and we're just about out of time. And I was thinking about the Susan G. Komen Foundation. I think that that's going to be something that that is going to be willing to connect with what you have, because you're bringing things out on a digital level where people can be able to hear people's stories, not behind the podium, but at home. I'm drying my hair. I still can listen. You see what I'm saying? I can eat, but I still can listen to someone else's story. I don't have to do anything or I don't have to put any effort to it. I can sit in the comforts of my home and get what I need. Even if I'm going through something, I can listen to somebody else's story on humanly to impact me. So I think it's going to reach a broader than what you can comprehend.
I hope so. And I think, the beauty of the site is, while all of the submissions are categorized by life themes, so to your point, these kind of transform into these playlists, these kind of, these micro podcasts where you can listen to a variety of things based on the theme. But you can also do a search in the site for anything from sex and intimacy to fear, to love, to remembering. You can search for a variety of things to connect with individuals, to connect to different stories and experiences, and to connect to different resources. So there's a variety of ways in which I hope people will use this to really obtain some value and support from what we've created thus far.
I'm sure that they will. So how can the listeners connect with you on social media platforms? If you have anything in regards to any publications that you have written, how can they find you on any other digital platforms so they can connect with this wonderful, awesome organization?
Yeah, so to connect with the Humanly site, you can go to ourstory.livehumanly.com. You can peruse all of the content that's there, listen to it, read it, and if you feel compelled, you can share your own story as well, and in addition to looking at the resources that are already on the site. With regard to social channels, you could check us out at live.humanly for Instagram. That's going to be one of the more active channels for us, and many folks can find me personally on LinkedIn with Lauren S. Wood of One, I believe is the LinkedIn handle. But look, Lauren Wood, Immunomedics, and I should pop up. So if anyone has questions, they can submit them through the site. We also would love to hear feedback. So if you have any comments or suggestions, we're constantly iterating this and bringing individuals into the design process. So we'd love to hear from folks as they use it.
Wonderful. So everyone, we have heard from a dynamic speaker that has brought so much to the table that you can be able to ascertain information and resources from others that have been going through and battling this cancer online in the comforts of your home. So we would like to thank you, Lauren, for being our guest on today, and hopefully we can be able to bring you back in the month of October to connect with you to get some updates, and then also we can perhaps go a little further to be able to compel more, to be able to engage with your brand. So thank you so much for taking the opportunity to be our guest on today.
Of course. Thank you so much, Anne. I greatly appreciate the time, and I look forward to speaking to you later this year.
Perfect. So women, for all upcoming updates and events and who's going to be next on the podcast, you can go to our website at www.womenwhorockwithsuccess.com. You have a great day.